This, right here, right now, this is now. This is all there will ever be is now. You're born, you get maybe a good 70, 80 years. 90 if you're lucky, or if you're super lucky, maybe even 100 or higher, but you know what? Life ends at some point. There's probably no afterlife. Our puny existence really doesn't even matter. But to be less pessimistic, well, why don't we just take the time we have, the time we were just, by chance, by some weird chance, some odd mutation that gave us this chance to learn about ourselves, to learn about everything around us. Study everything you can, rather than worry about religion. We've really grown past that. At least we should have. Religion holds you back. It makes you worry about something that really doesn't matter, but what matters is now. This is all you have. And people take that for granted. All the technology we have, all your computers, your phones, your tablets, any device you use, your car, your fucking living room couch, books, everything. It really is taken for granted because, well, we don't want to learn about it. And you got to take that into account. You have to learn about it. Oh, I guess you really don't have to, but don't you want to know? Aren't you curious? Aren't you curious about where you came from? About where everything you have comes from? Because this is all you have. Why not take that chance and learn it? Learn as much as you possibly can. Learn everything that you can fit, that you can cram into your mind. Because this is your chance. And I'd say take it. Take that chance. That this is the best and only chance you're ever going to get. So why not? Learn about yourself. Learn about everything around you. Learn about how that works. Learn about how you came to be and how everything came to be. Don't write it off as some spooky man in the sky who's vengeful and evil, and you spend all your time just dwelling on that. It's not good for you. It's unhealthy. It's not progressive. It doesn't do any good. At least you can enjoy your life by learning how everything is, by studying the way things work, getting as much knowledge as you possibly can. And that's important for a future, because when we're all dead and gone, well, that's all our children and our children's children and so on will have, is our knowledge passed down. And the only way we can have that knowledge is if we learn. Now, there's 3 steps to, well, logic, to, well, learning in general. First, you have to have intelligence. Well, obviously, we have that. We wouldn't be able to build a computer, we wouldn't be able to send a man to the moon if we didn't have intelligence. And then next, you have to have knowledge. Knowledge is what you gain using that intelligence. But then that brings you to the third step. Wisdom. Knowing how to use that knowledge. We can learn as much as we possibly can, but we need to learn to use that knowledge. We need to learn from our mistakes. It's all part of wisdom. Wisdom is very important. And it's the only way you're ever going to progress. And I'd really hate to see our species just go like that. I think if someday a bunch of us just got together and started learning, all of us, all 7, 8, how many billion people there are in the world, all learn just enough of the fighting, enough of the bullshit. We just learn. And from that learning, you don't, if you have wisdom, you don't make the same mistake twice. You don't need to kill each other for dominance. There's no such thing. You just learn because that's all you have. But I guess what I'm trying to say is embrace it. Don't take it for granted. You have what you have, and you're damn lucky. Because that tiny little chance we could exist, and that chance happened. We exist the way we are now. Because you know what? That's it. Okay? We should be educating the masses, not fighting over it. Should take greed out of it. Greed has never done anything good. And if we really want to be dominant as a species, as a whole, we have to learn. We have to educate ourselves. We have to be mindful of ourselves. We have to make discoveries and know how to use those discoveries to our advantage. We can't sit by and act like all of this has just happened. Everything didn't just happen, okay? In a way it did. But I mean, in our history, as we've grown, see this? As a keyboard. Now a keyboard works like this. Every time you press, say, any key on this, so I'll just press the O button. Every time you press a key on that, it sends 1 byte of data into that computer. 1 byte is 8 bits. 1 bit is a 1 or a 0. A 1 and a 0. 1 is on, 0 is off. Every time I press this O button, a signal gets sent from the keyboard, which is powered by my computer. A signal gets sent from the keyboard, and it's just 8 1s and 0s. 8 on and off sequences. That's it. It's just that. But we couldn't have that if we didn't make that discovery, if we didn't know how to communicate with using electricity. We'd never have that. That's why knowledge is literally power. It's sending 8 electronic signals into my computer. And there's so much you can do with that. And we take it all for granted. We have to become educated to move forward as a species, as a group. We are social creatures. We are supposed to work together. And one of the parts about evolution is that it improves as it goes along, or it fails. It's natural selection. It either improves or it dies. So we need to be educated. We need to not just sit around and take everything like it's just handed to us from some magical being in the sky that doesn't even exist. Or at least has no conclusive evidence showing that it exists. We need to learn. That's what's important. War, fighting, beating the hell out of each other, cheating, and ruining other people's lives is not a constructive way to spend that small amount of time you're given. So in conclusion, we just have to learn. That's it. Everything around us, it's all we have. We might as well learn about it. It's the only constructive thing that's going to be done. So maybe we can control it one day. We can manipulate it already because of that. But the only way it's going to improve is if we discover. We have to learn. We have to educate ourselves. And if you really want power, knowledge is power, man. Knowledge is power.